Hello, everybody. Rob Mazak here. I am a psychic medium, and I do a lot of podcasts on a lot of different topics. If you've heard me talk before, you know that I do not do any scripting. I do not do any preparation ahead of time. I don't write stuff down. I just speak from the heart, take an idea, and we're going to let it run and see where it takes us. And so what I wanted to talk about tonight was visualization. That's a very big subject, and I don't know if we can cover everything I want to talk about in 30 minutes or so, but we'll see where it takes us. And the reason I think I wanted to bring this up was I had an experience this last weekend that really solidified a lot of experiences that I've had using visualization in the past. And it just really made me think and realize and validate that visualization actually works really well. And so visualization, basically, if you look at the definition, it's like using your imagination. It's like running movies in your head that are not necessarily real or at the time real. It could be that you're recreating a memory of the day, or it could be that you're thinking about how it could have went or how it could have gone. Visualization is a very, very powerful tool. Even people like Einstein said something to the effect that visualization is just a preview of life's coming attractions. And so in many ways, I feel like we actually create our lives based on what we consistently and persistently think. And if you've heard me talk about this before, we tend to think in patterns that we've thought for years, and we wonder why we are in the same places and make the same choices and have the same relationships, and all the crazy things that happen to us keep happening to us, and we don't know why. And if you listen to Joe Dispenza before, the king of meditation, in my opinion, he will say the basic same things, is that 95% or more of the thoughts that we have every day are the same thoughts we've had most of our lives. And those all get rolled up into, or from, all the experiences we've had in life, the way we were raised, things that have happened to us, the cultures, the schooling, the parents we've had, all these different experiences, and it becomes part of our recording or our normal way of getting through life, or what our mind considers to be normal. So our mind is going to seek out and support all those perceptions and truths that we hold within ourselves. So that's why we keep attracting the same things into our life. However, you can use this visualization and you can use this imagination to your benefit. If you take charge of your thoughts at least some time during each day, many times is more important, and the more you can do it, the better. Because when I said persistently and consistently think about, that is a really big point there, because you can't have affirmations or run a fairy tale idea in your head. I say fairy tale because a lot of people think that imagination is just that. It really doesn't amount to anything, but it really does. I can give you lots of examples, and I'm sure I'll give you a few in this particular talk. But one of the things that I think really rings true, or really shows the validation for me that visualization works, is really in sports. And so I'm a huge exercise guy. If you have not heard that from me before, or if this is the first time you're hearing me talk, but basically my addiction is exercise, and sports is my favorite thing, and my favorite sport is soccer. Started that in around 2007. Been playing it ever since. It just became a big fever for me, and I have not stopped. I have played goalkeeper probably for the last, 15 years now. And I can tell you that visualization really, really, really works. And I'll give you a couple of examples. But let me talk first about somebody else's definition of visualization. I know at the beginning I said I don't read a lot of things, but I think this one is important. This is from somebody who does specific visualization and mental exercises for sports people, for sports athletes. And so what he says is that if you exercise an idea over and over, your brain will begin to respond as though the idea was a real object in the world. The thalamus makes no distinction between inner and outer realities, and thus an idea, if contemplated long enough, will take on the semblance of reality. Your belief, rather, becomes neurologically real, and your brain will respond accordingly. That's a lot of big words there. But I think you get the idea, and it's what I say a lot, and he says it real fancy like, but the real idea is that your subconscious is what runs your life. And 95% that we talked about is really happens underneath the surface, underneath our less than 10% of our conscious mind, which we think is in charge and runs our life, but it's not. Our conscious mind is just that piece that helps train the subconscious to do what we ask it to do. And it really doesn't know the difference between what we make up in our mind or our ideas and what's really happening in our reality or in our world. Taking advantage of that is really, really helpful. Now with athletes, it's really cool. So I don't know how long this has been around for athletes, but they have, I couldn't find it earlier. I was trying to find it, but I know I've seen and read studies where they've hooked up biofeedback to athletes and had them simply lay on the floor or get in some type of meditation stance and run their particular sport or their position or what they do on the field or on the court just simply in their mind, just relaxing in somewhat of a meditative state and just running through everything that they would do step by step. And what they found was that every single muscle that is involved in those movements were all firing in the same pattern and the same strength and the same effort, just as if they were actually physically doing it. Now, I know a lot of you guys are thinking, man, I'd love to be able to sit on the couch and become a professional level baseball player just by visualizing it. Well, it takes a little bit more than that, of course. Visualization is an adjunct or an addition to what you do on the field or on the court. It is something that just helps lock in those neurological pathways that become solidified. And then when you're out there playing sports, especially if you played for a long time and you've done, the same position and the same activities over and over again, your subconscious mind rather actually takes over many times. And we athletes that have been doing it for a long time find ourselves in this different state of mind. It's almost like we can watch things in slow motion as they happen, even though the speed of the ball coming at us might be, 100 miles an hour or whatever. I mean, that might be a little fast. But you get my point, is that we see it in a different speed, in different light, a different, just completely different. Many times I'll do things out there in the goal that, make these crazy saves and do all this magical stuff. Everybody's congratulating me as I get up off the ground, and I don't even remember doing it consciously. So it's just patterns. It's building patterns. It's taking your brain and not forcing it, but creating the pathways that you would like it to be able to function at or on or for you. And so I'll give you a bit of an example from this weekend. So I've used this a lot. I'll give you a few examples just to help you kind of understand how this works. I've been playing goalkeeper for a long time, like I talked about, and back to soccer after a little bit of an absence. I found myself just a little bit rusty in the goal and not really playing up to speed and, the way I know I can or that I have. And I think that, even over 8 months, you can kind of lose some of them pathways. Your brain readjusts to what you're not doing or doing differently. And so I decided that I wasn't really happy with that. Of course, my teammates weren't either. And I'm not saying I was playing horrible, but I really was not playing at the level that I knew that I could and that I can. It wasn't even so much using visualization in a meditative state, which I did some of that, laying on my couch and running through how I would save things and what position I would be in different scenarios. But what I did was different, a little different this time, is I spent a lot of time watching videos of goalkeeper saves that were just these amazing things, and watched how these professionals do it. And crazy enough, a lot of what they did, I was able to do this weekend. But I didn't even really think about it. I just thought, well, I just need to get my mindset back in the right order, and to understand that to play the game, I needed to be able to do some of these things that these professionals are doing. Am I quite at that level? Of course not, because otherwise I'd be probably playing professional ball. Well, probably not, 63, but so I don't know, but you get my point. And so I went out this weekend. I only had one game. I normally play like 3. Like I said, I have an addiction. And I found that I wasn't even really thinking about the game, and I wasn't even out there thinking about my position or how I should be moving or anything like that. I just got out there and played. Everything was just clicking. Everything was going like it should. Yeah, they scored on me, but I made a tremendous amount of saves. I was doing these high-level professional saves and all these things that were just blew me away. To be honest, many of the things that I did, people told me about, because I don't really remember a lot of it. I'm not saying this because I'm old and getting senile. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that those pathways really took over. They helped me to not have to think consciously, which is a much slower process, because our subconscious mind can take 11 million bits of information per second. Our conscious mind can only take 40 zeros. You can see that the speed of the processing is much slower. It is very helpful if you can visualize what you want to happen in your life. It doesn't have to be sports. I'm just using this as an example. And I'll give you another example here in a minute. But the thing is that if you can train your subconscious mind to bring forth a new perception and a new truth for you, you can change your life in the way that you want it to become. And it's really not that hard, and it doesn't cost anything other than your time and your attention. But it doesn't cost you any money. You don't have to have any fancy equipment. You don't have to have an app. You don't have to have anything like that. All you have to do really is find yourself a quiet place where you're not distracted. You can put on some music. You can do whatever, something that's not recognizable where you're going to sing along with the tune or anything like that. But find yourself that space and run through like you're watching a movie in your mind. Play it over and over and over, and don't change it. Play it over and over and over. And you will find that your mind, your subconscious mind, all parts of your mind will begin to adjust and build those pathways so that it will go out and seek what you are visualizing. Now, some people literally can't visualize, which is, no pun intended, hard for me to imagine. We will circle back on that in a minute. Let me give you one other example, well, at least one other. Back to soccer. I have gone out and tried out for professional soccer probably about 7 or 8 times in San Antonio, ever since they had a semi-pro team out there. And so I went out every year for about 8 years. I found that I did okay, but I never really got that call back. Of course, once again, I was always too old. I think I started that when I was 52 or 53 or something. I don't remember. And so that's way too old for most professional teams. But it really wasn't the point. My thought was is that I really wanted to have some kind of recognition. I wanted coach to be able to say certain things to me, or at least give me a pat on the back and go, oh my gosh, not counting your age, you did really well. And I do play goalkeeper pretty well. I wanted to have a different outcome in 1 year that I went out. I don't remember how old I was, to be honest, at this point. But what I decided to do was a few months prior to the tryouts, I actually decided how I wanted those tryouts to go. So I sat in meditation several times a day for 3 months and played the same scenes over and over and over again. All the saves I was going to make, the finger I would hurt, the smell of the grass, what the coach would say when we were done. that a news team would be interviewing me because of my performance and my age, and that would happen directly after the tryouts. And so when I went out to the tryouts, once again, just like this weekend, I didn't really think about it. It just became so normal to me that I've been playing this so long. I guess I just expected it to happen. And I can tell you, people, it happened almost verbatim, almost exactly like I played it out in my mind for those 3 months before. I hurt the finger I imagined I was going to hurt. All the saves that I imagined I was going to save. Yes, all the saves I imagined I was going to do, I actually did. And the coach said, literally, word for word, what I had imagined for those 3 months. I mean, not a little bit, not close, word for word. Got off the field after it was over. Somebody stuck a mic in my face, and it was a news crew from one of the major news stations, and they did an ad hoc interview right there on the sideline. I don't even remember if it played on the news or not. It really wasn't important. But the one thing I forgot to put in my imagination, my visualization, was the callback. When you do a tryout, at least in this case, they wanted you to, if they liked what they saw, they would invite certain people to a combine and then to continue the tryout, if you will. Of course, I never put that in there. And so my imagination, my visualization brought me as far as my imagination and visualization process. This is why having bold ideas and big ideas is important, because just because it seems impossible doesn't mean it's impossible and that you could never get what you think you could get. Now, a lot of times I look at this subconscious and the ability to change the pathways in a lot of ways, because I also do hypnosis, a very specific kind called quantum healing hypnosis technique by Dolores Cannon, which is really, really cool. But in any hypnosis process, what you're doing is you actually take the conscious mind out of the equation. You turn it off, you put it to sleep, and you work with the real core of the person. You connect that subconscious to the other side. You give it whatever name you like. And you then reprogram, get information, work with the actual person and not the ego part of the person, the conscious mind that thinks it's in charge. Just that little barking chihuahua that's bigger, way bigger than its pants. And so the subconscious is just basically that private. If you look at it in the army way or the military way, where the private, brand new person, their only job is to listen to what order they are given and to execute. Not to think, not to, banter about it, but just to salute the flag and go with their marching orders. And that's the same with the subconscious mind. And so let's all give it a try, because visualization is so important. And a lot of times we let it run on automatic, and it just kind of happens, and we visualize all the bad things and all the things that we think are not going well in our life. And that just solidifies all the things that are going wrong in our life and that are bad. And so we need to take the time. I'm not big on telling people what to do, but I'm telling you what you should consider doing is that you should find time to meditate or find a quiet space dedicated to visualizing what it is you want in your life. And the other example I will give you is when I had been through my personal journey, probably almost 10 years ago now, during my dark night of the soul is the way I will categorize that. And when I was ready for my next relationship, I laid down on my couch. I still have that couch. And I did exactly what I'm suggesting you guys do. I literally visualized everything I wanted in the next woman. Eye color, hair color, sex drive, all these fun things, right? I'll tell you what, she showed up the next week. I mean, it literally was that quick. Now, can we actually bring forth things that quick? sometimes, right? But the thing is, when you visualize, you also have to have the belief system in it. I say that because was I able to visualize and manifest, if you will, the next mate for me, right? My next wife in that short of time. It's not impossible, but really it's because I was doing the core work and I was really learning who I was and who I needed in my life. And so it was a culmination of a lot of things. Just like with the sports, just to visualize a process will not make you a high level athlete. You have to get out there and do the physical part of it as well. And it's the same thing with any visualization. You need to visualize, but you also need to work towards those goals and those ideas and not just sit on the couch. And, that's like wishing in one hand and crapping in the other. And what are you going to get? You're going to get crap. So you have to have a little bit of both there. And so once again, visualization is just the most amazing thing. So what do you do if you can't visualize? Most of you guys are like, what do you mean not visualize? Anybody could think of things and visualize my kitchen or my bedroom or where I work or what my ideal woman is or ideal man. But there are actually people out there that cannot visualize. They literally see a blank slate. They can't not visualize. Now, I've been able to do hypnosis on all of the clients that I have that cannot visualize. And so there is always a way around it. So if you can't actually play it in your mind, sometimes you have to write it out, speak it out loud, and so that your mind and your brain hears it over and over and over again. And so what I'm saying by visualization, it could be a lot of aspects and a lot of ways to do that. It's not always just watching the movie in your mind, but for me, it works really well that way. And for others, they have to do things much differently. There's nothing wrong with using affirmations, for example, that you speak out loud or you listen to in your ears, especially listening to it on headphones as you sleep at night. Because guess what's turned off when you sleep at night, right? You've probably heard me say this before. Your conscious mind is turned off. Mr. Stupid, Mrs. Stupid is turned off. And your subconscious mind is taking in the lot of everything that goes in your ears. Once again, it can take on 11 million bits of information every second. And so without question, right? Without question. So why don't you take advantage of that as well? And so if you can't visualize or you struggle with meditating or sitting still or taking the time to do it, record yourself speaking the things that you want into existence in your life. And so I did that. And, I read that somewhere, I think it was on Bruce Lipton's website, where he talks about, and he also does a hypnosis technique, and where he talks about an easier way and cheaper way to actually do a hypnosis on yourself, and that's using headphones while you sleep at night. And there are some pre-recorded things out there that you can use. I felt like if I was going to do that, and I did do it, I wanted to hear myself telling myself. So I got behind a mic like I'm doing right now. I ran about a 15-minute affirmations or I am statements and exactly what it is I wanted to see in my life. I wrote it out first, so it's a little logical. And I put a little music behind it, and I copied it 4 times. And so in that track, for an hour, I can hear myself telling myself what it is I want out of life. And so my subconscious mind hears it. I did that last night, and it was a lot of fun. It kind of takes me, at least, to a place where it's in that in-between. It's not completely asleep in the delta, but it's in that theta state where the conscious mind is still out of the equation, yet you're somewhat aware is where all the dreams happen. That is the space. That's the space, the perfect space. Doing that at night really, really helps. And even if that's hard for you to do, because you can't go to sleep and you struggle already and, just more distractions, you can verbalize things that you want in your life Repetition is important in everything we do. That's how we develop habits, how we develop new pathways. That's how we develop new skills on the basketball court and the soccer field and the football field and all that. And in life, it's the same thing. Repetition creates habits, creates pathways, creates new things in our life. Do yourself a favor when you wake up in the morning and as you go to sleep, think about all the great things you want your day to be and what you want included in your day. And at night, what it is that you want in your life. And don't dwell on the stupid things and the bad things that have happened during your day. And then you have a whole 8 hours or whatever period of time you take to sleep at night for your subconscious mind to go, got it, stupid stuff coming your way, and that's what you've told the subconscious that you want it to work on. And it's got 8 hours without Mr. and Mrs. Stupid there to actually take care of that for you. So let's have it take care of the things that are important to you. In other words, I'm asking you guys to think about thinking on purpose, to actually train your own mind to bring the things into your life that you would like to have. And don't cut any corners. Play out the visualization and the affirmations and whatever it is you want in your life. Make it as big as you can possibly think. Because just like the old saying, if you shoot for the stars and you happen to hit the moon, you still did a pretty good job, right? If you ask for little things and you get little things, well, what good is that? Now, you can start with little things just to get the belief system going. I asked for double rainbows to be my sign from my spirit guides that I'm doing the right things, or I'm asking the right questions, or I'm in the right place. And let me tell you, it shows up all the time. Not necessarily in the sky. It could be a refraction through the light of the window and, they flash across my desk. Little things like that can really bring validity to the process. And, experiment with little things first and then work yourself into bigger things. Don't cut yourself short, because we are here for a short time, not a long time. In my opinion, we return many, many times, and we're going to continue doing that. Even so, this is the life we have right now, and we have a short time to do everything and be everything we like to do and be. And so let's take advantage of our mind. The most powerful thing on this planet is our minds, our consciousness, our processes between our ears, and let's actually put it to work for us. I challenge you to try this, to actually put it into practice and just watch the magic happen in your life. So I would love to hear from you guys. I'm sure some of you guys have stories just like I talked about. I could give you a lot more, but I don't want this podcast to go on too long. I usually strive for about 30 minutes, and we're right around that time. But I would still love to hear from you guys. If you go to my website, lifebymazak.com, lifebymazak.com, find the contact page, find a way that works best for you to contact me, reach out to me. Let's collaborate. Let's talk. Let's see if we can help each other. You will hear from me again, most assuredly. I look forward to hearing from you. Stay strong and live your life.